Hey everyone, welcome back to the GameSpot E3 demo stage here at E3 2017. Joining myself and Kelly Plaguey is Ash Ismail, who is the game director of Assassin's Creed Origins. Welcome to our stage.
Great to be here.
Yes, and as you said in the press conference, it's so nice to finally say what you're working on.
You've seen the press conference.
I was watching
Wow. Yes, it's a pleasure to finally be able to show it off. It's been a long road. 3.5 years working on a game is a long time, so we're excited to finally be able to show it off and have people play it. So it's cool.
So the last game you worked on was Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Black Flag, so that was the last game, yeah.
How long was there, did you at least get like a vacation in between starting?
Yeah, there was a little bit of vacation, a little bit of downtime, just to re-energize. Everybody needs a bit of that. But pretty much right after Black Flag, we started Assassin's Creed Origins. We had the concept of doing Egypt and ancient Egypt, so it was a thrill to be able to bring this setting to life. And so yeah, it's been a 3.5-year road to get to this point. By the time we ship, it'll be 4 years, which is a decent amount of time to do a massive game.
Yes. What was I mean, obviously, Egypt always felt like the perfect place for Assassin's Creed to go, right?
Yes.
But why were you the one to finally take it on, I guess?
So when we started this project, we had this urge to do something that was kind of a reinvention of Assassin's Creed in terms of gameplay, narrative, storytelling, world, but at the same time somehow authentically AC. And so this, this brought us to talking about the birth of the Brotherhood and how can we tell a story that was really powerful for the series, and then how do you tell that story in a context that can be epic and bigger than life. And so Egypt was a natural fit for us. It's been a dream for all of us to do this. Technologically, it was always hard because doing a giant country of this scope, making sure it's seamless. Whether you're underwater, going through a cavern, going to a giant city, that we wanted this flow to be immersive and seamless. So we reached a point where technologically we could achieve that. The will was there, the intention was there, so we just went for it.
Yeah. I do want to talk about, because we're looking at combat right now.
Yes.
The combat has been revamped
totally
quite a bit.
Very excitingly as well.
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask a little bit, like, what exactly is the process there of like switching from the traditional Assassin's Creed style? I mean, there's much more flexibility with what you can do in combat now.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things we set out to do early on was by doing such a large landscape, we knew that bows mattered, and we wanted the third-person shooting element to be super strong. And then we asked ourselves, well, how's that going to mix with melee combat? So it had to be smooth, seamless. If somebody wants to be kind of a ranger playstyle, but within the melee combat system, it should work for them. And so then to do that, we pretty much said, okay, let's reinvent fight. The old paradigm of fight was really, it's what we call a paired animation system. So you press attack, the hero and the enemy come together, they play an animation. Now we've gone to a hitbox-based system, which pretty much means you swing your weapon, if something's in the way, it gets hit. If it's not, well, you swing in open air and you can be hit. So all of a sudden, the size of the weapon, the length, the speed, your position compared to the other enemies, all of this matters. So here, as an example, that was a swing that missed, luckily followed up well. You notice here enemies attack almost at the same time.
No more waiting.
No more waiting for the counter. So there you go. You have a lot of combos, a lot of different moves. All the different weapons have their own combo set. We wanted players to experiment with all the different weapons and to find depth in the system. And this links to our RPG mechanics. So we've gone much deeper into the RPG realm.
Yes.
So all weapons have not only levels and stats, but also attributes and properties. So for example, fighting with a poison-tipped spear is nothing like a Khopesh that does bleeding damage. Khopesh is the classic Egyptian sword. Here we have a boss fight. So this new fight system allows us to do things like boss fights, which is wonderful. We've been excited to do that. So we have boss fights in arenas like this, but also in quests and side quests. Guys that are just roaming in the world that are optional. But for the people who love the challenge of combat or stealth, they're there. They give awesome rewards. We're thrilled that we have them.
I played this boss sequence, and I actually was really surprised because I led him into one of those spiked columns you can see, and it took so much damage.
Oh yeah, you
off
can
of
see
it.
right here.
Yeah. And this might be my gameplay, I don't remember, but
And now I'm gonna judge you.
It's actually pretty decent. It's actually pretty decent.
It might be somebody else's. Mine had a but I got him to like just fall into it. And I thought that was really interesting. I liked being able to. I mean, that falls into the realm of player choice. Like I was able to kind of manipulate his movement rather than attacking brute force.
Exactly. We wanted that the environment also has an effect if you choose to use it. So in the combo set of each weapon, you have abilities that can push enemies, put them on the ground, this kind of stuff. So we've seen a lot of people who know how to use the two-handed axe to use its pushing capacity, the combo that pushes an enemy into those spikes, and they do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
We wanted that the combat is super flexible. Now we talk about combat a lot, but stealth is also. Oh, somebody ran into that spike. So, was it your PlayStation?
I don't think this is mine actually.
Now you just
naturally.
yourself. Oh, no,
Naturally,
that definitely wasn't me. Oh no.
Oh no,
No,
vicious.
definitely.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, that did happen to me. Oh, who knows?
There's a lot of comparisons when the combat was kind of first being shown off at the press conference. Is it like Dark Souls? Are you guys hesitant to use that? Because I mean, I know we are always hesitant to say like, oh yeah, the combat's like Dark Souls.
Yeah, I mean that was the first comparison I thought of too, but it's like the last one you want
It's
to say.
like the new, you're not allowed to say visceral, right? It's like the new visceral is the combat's like Dark Souls.
Or epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The word epic. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, the combat, we started this combat system really at the beginning of the project. We wanted something that was really fresh for Assassin's Creed and for our fans as well, but something that was accessible, but not necessarily forced. You can actually go through the game if you want to play like as a stealth assassin. You can go through the game that way, or as a ranger, using the bow. But yes, we looked at a lot of references. We asked ourselves, what is the combat system that makes sense for Egypt, for these types of weapons, for the character that we play, which is, his name is Bayek, he's a Medjay. And this was an actual ancient line of warriors.
Oh, I've seen The Mummy. I know
You've-
about the
you've seen
Medjay.
it?
The Mummy is one of our personal favorite
Yeah.
movies.
Well, I think we've taken control of that that naming now. So these guys were trained warriors, and they trained in many different styles of fight with many different types of weapons. So that's what we went for. I'm super thrilled with what we have. It's why we even have the demo playable here. We want people to see that we pushed ourselves to achieve something different. That it's deep and powerful, and there's a huge curve to its depth. So we're excited by it.
But it's not just the combat that you guys seem to have like revamped. It's also the other big tentpole of Assassin's Creed gameplay is parkour.
Yes.
But I mean, it's different now. So I mean, I found that with the more recent games, it's been oversimplified to a place where it's not as enjoyable, right? Like in Syndicate, you had that little grappling gun, which meant that you didn't even have to climb anything.
I think we're here to talk about Assassin's Creed Origins and Syndicate. The buildings are super tall, so there was a sense to it. No, in our case, it was, we knew we were building a giant world with a lot of wilderness. So we put a lot of effort to how do you traverse this world? You'll see that if you've played it, we worked a lot on the responsiveness of the hero when climbing, when running, making sure that players have full control over Bayek. So we drastically changed the way underneath the hood, how all navigation works. And then we went further into like you have mounts, you have mounted combat, we have different ships, different boats, camels. You can't do Egypt without camels, of course, chariots. No, we worked on pretty much fundamentally everything. We wanted this experience to be as cohesive. We listened to the fans. We listened to feedback of the previous ACs. It was important for us. We wanted to take pride in achieving something really cool for the fans and for anybody who wants to try AC.
And along those like changing or kind of the departure from the AC formula, what was the thinking behind the RPG elements? Like why move towards the action RPG genre for Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, so going more action RPG, the main purpose was, we saw that our players, there were really two major types of players, the stealth players and people who love to do just combat. And they're both valid play styles, and one is not better than the other. And what we felt is by going more action RPG, it allows us to give players control to dedicate themselves to those play styles. Or in our case, it's even being a ranger, if you want to go full third-person shooter, you can. We have a lot of different types of bows. So by doing that, it means there's a progression system that supports this. There's abilities that support that. That means we have a lot more depth. So as you go through the game, finding rare weapons, legendary weapons, they have new attributes that kind of change the way you play. So it just gave us a ton more depth. It also gave us a way to give rewards. Egypt is huge. There's a lot of places to discover, hidden tombs, lost temples, even caves, and the world is majestic and beautiful, and we wanted that there was a true narrative and gameplay value to the things you can find there, and the RPG element helped us achieve that.
So speaking of Egypt, obviously, I mean, everyone can think like ancient Egypt, oh, it took place in like, 100-year span, but really it was like hundreds of years of history.
Thousands. 3,000 years.
Yeah, so how did you choose the particular time period?
So when we looked into this, we asked ourselves, do we go to the time of the pyramid, the building of the pyramids? The issue there was nothing else around. It was kind of an empty world. Sure, you can see a pyramid building, but there wasn't much else. We wanted to go to ancient Egypt, and when we looked around, we landed on 49 BCE, which is at the time of Cleopatra's ascension, because it gave us an opportunity to show Egypt after centuries of grandeur and human accomplishment and these massive monuments. So there's already a built-in history that players can discover, as the heroes discovering it. And then on top of that, it was the fact that this is the moment of the demise of the ancient world. The line of pharaohs is about to end, the gods are going to die, the Egyptian way of life is going to drastically change. And our hero, Bayek, he's the embodiment of Egypt. We wanted a character that was, how can you physically represent ancient Egypt? He's that representation. He has in him the beliefs, the rituals. He works for the people of Egypt. He has compassion for them, but at the same time, he's weary of newcomers. He holds on to the ghost of the past. Ooh. And the idea is, who does this person have to be? What does he have to do? Knowing that his world is about to end and a new world is coming. And this is what eventually leads to the birth of the Brotherhood as we knew it from AC1.
Right.
Yeah. So we're 1,000 years before AC1.
Wow.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
1,000 whole years.
1,000 whole years. I do have to ask, you mentioned Cleopatra. Will we get to see Cleopatra?
We're Assassin's Creed. We play with history. I mean, it's during her time of ascension to her throne. So of course we do play with major historical figures, with major historical events. They are integrated into the narrative. So we've changed to a quest structure. So there's a lot of stories we want to tell of Egypt, and you meet a ton of characters. When we did our research, what we found was there were hundreds of amazing little stories, real things that happened that we wanted to propose to our players to experience that. And so we put them in our quests. And so you meet wild characters. A lot of them are referenced from real people who existed. And then our spin on it is, how is this all linked to the birth of the Brotherhood, to Bayek's story? And so yes, you meet some really fantastic historic figures.
What I love about Assassin's Creed is how deep you guys go with that research. I mean, in Syndicate, you had Spring-Heeled Jack, which is like, as someone who lives in London, seeing Spring-Heeled Jack in a game is quite...
It meant something.
It meant something. Are you hoping you're going to have that same sort of feeling of discovery for people who love things about ancient Egypt?
Yeah, for sure. We got a lot of historians, Egyptologists that we embedded into the team. We wanted to do this time period, this culture, these people, their beliefs. We wanted to do it justice. It's not just a setting for us. We take pride in representing things properly, in a game form. And so yes, there's a lot of references to actual historic stuff. The hieroglyphs. It's not just art on a wall. They actually say stuff.
Really?
You know that giant mural behind me yesterday when I was doing the conference? There's a meaning there.
All right, I need to get my books out.
Yeah. Get the books out.
Someone's got to do some translating.
I'm amazed no one's... have people tweeted
I'm wondering
at you?
how long...
Yeah.
I shouldn't have even maybe said it, but I was wondering how long it's going to take for people to translate that.
Oh man, you heard it here first. Go try to translate that.
Actually, I think we've heard it here first.
That is fascinating. So what other little ancient Egypt, not Easter eggs, but I used to be such a huge ancient Egypt nerd kid. And you talked about in the presentation that I saw mummification being part of a thing. What other rituals or ancient Egypt specific things can we expect?
So we know our ceremonies, our rituals. We've done a lot of studies on this kind of stuff, and we wanted that players, in a natural way, through the stories and through the quests that we have, that they experience this stuff. We want to answer things like, well, what's actually underneath the Great Pyramid. I mean, we know the chambers that people have discovered, but there is more. Everybody knows there's more. So we have our answer to that. And we have a ton of pyramids, tombs, temples. Even if you go out into the mountains here, we can see that this is a little outpost, but if you see in the distance, there's mountains, there's stuff in there for you, okay? Go explore the world. We want people to be lost in the world, to be in awe of its scope, the things you can find in it, the discoveries. Bayek is a character who was, he grew up in Siwa, and the idea is when he's kind of leaving his home and going out to the rest of Egypt, he's exploring it as much as the player is. So it's a natural fit. So yeah, for sure there's a ton to discover in the world. We had fun with it.
What I'm also really interested about is the mini-map is gone. No longer will my eyes be kind of keep darting to the bottom corner to make sure I'm kind of hitting everything right. What was it? Was it liberating to sort of go to the more compass-based system?
Yes, it was. When we say we wanted to reinvent Assassin's Creed, we really meant it on every level, from the macro to the micro. How does a player, from the controller to the feedback, experience this game? One of the elements was, yes, we wanted to move away. It was a choice we made as a design choice to move away from the mini-map. The world is stunning. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm super proud of our engineers and our artists. And we wanted people to look in the world. If you can see, the player has the ability to flag the feedback they want. If you want to remove the quest feedback, you can just flick it off. If you, Senu gives you a lot of feedback. Here we can see this enemy here. We can see his level. This is by player choice. If you want to see this feedback, you actively look for that info. No, we wanted people to be consumed by the world, to be immersed by it. For sure, there's always the balance of understanding, what am I doing? What do I need to know about the current situation I'm in? And we challenged ourselves on that. And yes, I would say it was actually very liberating from a design sense to challenge ourselves on this. Making games is, we always want to be challenged and pushing ourselves and learning new techniques. So we pushed ourselves.
Obviously, eagles have a very long and symbolic relationship with the Brotherhood. And now is Senu like the OG eagle?
Oh, for sure.
Of the Brotherhood?
Oh, we go far with Senu. So, a little tidbit. You want another?
Yes.
You want a little tidbit? So, the viewpoints. So, we thought about viewpoints, and we wanted to keep the viewpoint concept because of the powerful legacy element of it. But now, when you synchronize with a viewpoint, so you're actually training Senu to be able to scout better.
Aww.
So, yes. So if you notice in every AC, there's always an eagle circling around the viewpoints. So we explain how that came to be. So we had fun with it. Senu is she's it. She's the beginning of everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
The true origin.
The true origin.
What else? It's also interesting that Senu seems to be like a thing I like about Ubisoft is, as a company, you guys seem to share a lot in terms of not only like gameplay mechanics, but like it seems like developers go out of their way to help each other and share. And it looks like Senu, the way that she's moving around and tagging people, is happened in Far Cry Primal? You had like the owl?
There was an owl in Far Cry, yeah.
Who came first?
So we had the eagle as one of our first prototypes 3.5 years ago. The main actual reason for Senu was it was actually linked to Black Flag. It was that when you go to the what we called animus travel with the ship, with the jackdaw, the camera pans back, and we thought it was just such a beautiful way to look at the world, and it had a peacefulness to it that we asked ourselves, how can we look at this beautiful open world from different perspectives? And someone said, hey, what about a literal bird's eye view? So we built a prototype of an eagle, a very simple eagle at the time. We thought, hey, this is an amazing way to look at our world. And so it was a very easy, natural process for us to go to that direction. And then we decided to incorporate it into the tagging element, the scouting element, stealth, and so on. So it was a natural step for us to go to that direction with Senu.
Was she also the inspiration for Eagle Flight? Are you not allowed to say?
Hey, Eagle Flight, super cool game. They're doing their thing. We're doing ours.
She just has to ask.
I have to ask. I haven't even asked about Abstergo or the Animus yet.
What, was that a question?
Well, are
or
you
a
allowed
statement?
to answer?
So far, that was a statement, I think. Well, for now, we're really focused on ancient Egypt, on Bayek's journey, and you know, the mysteries of Egypt. We just announced the game, so you know, there's a campaign, there's more information, there's a lot of stuff coming. You know, for now we're focused on Egypt and Bayek. Yeah.
That's okay. That's fine. I'll accept
That was
that.
decent. That was
That was
okay.
good.
Acceptable.
Yeah.
We'll take it. I do want to get back to exploration just a little bit, because one of the things I noticed when I was playing is like NPCs, including animals, have their own they have their own life. They have their own cycle that they go through. And my boat got sunk by a crocodile.
What?
Excellent.
And I swam up.
Oh.
Yeah, and I had to
We have
kill it.
research to back that up.
Yeah, I had to fight it underwater. It was the whole thing, and then blood in the water attracts more
Or you
crocodiles.
went through an ordeal.
I did.
For you.
That was like the end of my demo. Is I just got wrecked by a crocodile. But I wanted to ask about like building that living, breathing world as part of Bayek's journey. Like what is that like? What is
Yeah.
the inspiration?
So how it started was when we decided to build such a large world. We knew we had to figure out how do you populate this world properly. We needed some new technologies to do that, and so by pushing ourselves to do that, we said, okay, then let's give every single NPC, every single animal, a purpose, a schedule. You know, farmers will farm, they'll go home and sleep, they'll eat, they need to go to the washroom at some point. Priests run rituals. Animals sleep, hunt, they look for shade. They have homes to protect, or their dens. And so we gave not only life and purpose, but also persistence. And how that comes into play and how does that matter to the player is that first in the quest system, by telling you, hey, you have a target, and you find some info that tells you this target at night, he sleeps in his fort, protected, but he's sleeping in a fort. During the day, he's out on his chariot roaming the land. And so at that point, it's for the player to decide, do I want to go fight him on his chariot? Do I want to try to sneak in and stealth, take him out? Do I want to just fight his fort? And the idea is this happens with the day-night cycle. If you're 2 kilometers away and you decide to take Senu out for a ride, well, you might find him and you might see where he is in the world. And so that means he needs to live in that world and he needs to be doing stuff. If you catch it, I had a situation once, I kid you not, where I saw him fighting a bunch of thieves, a bunch of bandits. They ended up killing him. He went in the wrong part of the village. And okay, it was a side quest character, so I had to go up to him. Oh, there he is, he's dead. I was kilometers away. I came up to him and he was dead. And okay, so I had to pick up what I needed from him. And it was super cool. You know, he's really living in the world. He's doing something in the world.
And dying in the world, apparently.
And dying in the world. So it gives us something unique for our game, and it really enhances the quest structure. And it was a needed step to actually fill such a massive world with all this life.
So you could have a hit out on somebody, and you could find them dead already by some unknown cause to you.
So to some degree, we didn't want that for, let's say, some of the major characters.
Right.
For sure. We wanted the player to experience those. But we have a ton of side quests where you have a lot of different objectives. It's not just targets. It's also people you need to meet. Bayek has a lot of informants that he needs to go and get information from them. And by living in the world, you can run into a situation where something happened or they went somewhere they shouldn't have gone. And we fully assume that. It's even cool. It creates really unique experiences for our players. So we've embraced it, fully embraced it.
We are running out of time, but Timur, who you met yesterday, told me to ask you, what happened when you met Miyamoto?
Oh, Miyamoto. Yes, that was special. That was a really special moment. So he was coming off backstage. I was going up next. They had me up. They're like, okay, Ash, 2 minutes. I saw him coming. He was getting his mic taken off. I had chills. And the thing is, I don't really geek out. I don't, celebrities are human beings. None of that gets to me. Miyamoto got to me. I mean, this guy, he inspired me. He's one of the greatest designers ever. We still use the design principles he created. In AC, in any third-person game, open world or not, we use the designs they came up with. And so it was an honor. So I ran down to him. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna geek out for a minute. Let me. And he's like, go for it. So he was really sweet with me. We took some photos. He was having fun with me. Gave me a little hug at the end of it.
Oh my goodness.
He asked me, tell me a little bit about AC. I told him, he's like, it looks beautiful. He was really sincere and sweet. It made my day. And then at that point, they're like, Ash, 10 seconds, go. So it was a cool moment. It only enhanced the day. It enhanced being able to talk about the game. It was a super cool moment.
Awesome. Well, Ash, thank you so much for joining us.
My
Really
pleasure. Thank
looking
you.
forward to playing Assassin's Creed Origins later this year. For more from E3 2017, guys, make sure you stay tuned to GameSpot.com.